Yo, what's going on, dudes? HK Time here with a brand new video for you guys, and in today's video, I have something really cool planned for you guys because during yesterday's video, when I was checking out a bunch of different maps in the BTD6 map browser, I came across a map that I thought looked really interesting, and it filled me with a bunch of inspiration. And that map is going to be the map Shapes. So when I was looking at this map, I was like, man, this is a really cool map design. But there was another thing that came to mind. And I think I can actually transform this and turn this into another really cool map design that's similar to this one. Now it is going to be very different because it's not going to have the Shapes theme, but it's going to have a theme that's really going to bring this map design to life. So what I'm going to be stealing from this map is I'm going to be stealing the shade background because I think I could actually come up with something really cool by stealing this background. On top of that, I really like how they added this glow effect behind the snow pathway. So this is the other thing that I'm going to be stealing because, again, I think I can come up with something that will look really cool. So the first thing we're going to have to do is we're going to have to go through and we're going to have to lay down the background. So because I'm going to be stealing this shade background with all of these different squares, that's the first thing that I want to do is I want to go ahead and set up that grid pattern in the background. Now this is going to take a while because I want to get it as perfect as I possibly can. Now the one thing that's going to be really difficult about this is we're not going to be able to get it perfectly or perfect up here in the top right, because if we try to place down a square right here, it's going to end up pressing the settings button, so we're not going to be able to make it perfect square throughout the entire thing. So we're going to have to do our best to kind of get this placed over here as far to the left as we can get it. So whenever I wish this is something that Ninja Kiwi would fix. When we're placing down these squares, I wish they would remove these two buttons and put them over here instead. I mean, it really wouldn't make that big a difference if they ended up removing these, because whenever you move it off of the screen anyways, it just ends up going back to the way it was. So I'm not exactly sure why Ninja Kiwi left these two buttons here, because it's a little bit of a distraction and it makes placing objects up in the top right really difficult. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and do a speedy bit of setting down all of these shades, and I'll bring you guys back here in just a second. And there we have it, dudes. So we have officially set up the grid pattern. And guys, this looks so trippy. I really like the way that this looks, and I'm so happy that King Schnarf came up with this background idea, because without his inspiration, I probably wouldn't have thought about doing this. So now that we have the background grid pattern set up, the next thing I want to do is I actually want to get the track laid out first. So the track that I'm going to be using is going to be similar to what he did, and I'm going to be using this snow pathway. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and get all of the pathways, or the beginning of all of the pathways set up first. Then after I have the beginning of the pathways set up, then we'll go ahead and construct the actual pathways themselves. So for this map, I think I want to use a path width of 1, and I'm going to be making it a 5 pathway map. So this is where things are going to get really interesting, because oh my goodness, dude, I'm so excited about this, because the picture in my head, it should look really cool. And kudos for anyone out there who already knows what I'm going to be making, because I don't want to spoil it yet, even though you guys are going to be able to find out really quick what I'm trying to go for. But what I want to do is I want to make all 5 of these pathways really close over here on the left hand side. So that's what I'm going to be doing right now, is I'm going to be using pathway 3 as the basis, and then we'll move pathway 2 and pathway 1 as close as we can to this middle pathway. But the next thing I have to do is I have to make sure the pathway 3 is in the exact middle of the map. All right, so that's going to be pathway number 3. Now for pathway number 2, like I was saying, I want to make this as close to this pathway as I can get it, with there still being like a little bit of room in between the pathways. Also, I need to make sure that I straighten this out because because I want all of the pathways to be like perfectly straight. Now, the next thing I want to do is I want to make these pathways like different lengths. So the first one, I'll go ahead and make it, we'll say about that far is good. And then the next thing I want to do is I want to come up to pathway 1, and we want to move it as close to pathway 2 as we can get it. Pretty much as close as pathway 2 and pathway 3 are. All right, so we have each of the pathways a little bit longer and a little bit shorter than some. We'll make the bottom pathway 5 the shortest out of all of the 5 pathways. On top of that, I think I need to move pathway 2 a little bit closer to pathway 3 because it looks like pathway 3 is a little bit further spread apart than the other pathways. All right, and I think that looks pretty good. Now's when the real fun part begins, because now we need to start like actually like constructing the full pathway. So the first thing we want to do is we want to work with the first pathway, and we want to bring this pathway up here. Now this is where the tricky part is going to begin, because we want this pathway to be as like I want to say as like straight as possible. So I don't want there to be like too many curves, but obviously it's going to be kind of unavoidable using the pathways in Bloons TD6, right? So let's just go ahead and we'll stick with this because I think this looks pretty good, but I want to drag this in as far as I can get it. And there we go. So I think that looks pretty good. There is there's not a bend. It's just because of the shadow on this pathway. So now that we have that done, let's just go ahead. We'll extend this pathway all the way over here. And again, we need to make this as straight as we possibly can. There we go. We'll drag this up a little bit. And now this is where you guys will like have a really good idea of what I'm trying to go for. So now that we have like this section done, the next thing I want to do is I want to go ahead and try to make a small circle. So this is going to be the hard part of this map, because I want to make a really, really small circle, kind of like a circuit, because that's going to be the name of this map. The name of this map is going to be Circuit, because I'm going to be trying to make a circuit map. Because when I saw King Snarf's map, that was like the first thing that came to my mind. I was like, yo, if I did this, I think I could make a map that looks like a circuit. But I need to be really, really careful here because I think I'm gonna have to like get the actual pathway complete first. So what I need to do is I need to go ahead and make another pylon, and I need this pylon to be a little bit to the right of this one, and then I need the pathway to go back through the original pathway. So this is why I said this is going to be relatively difficult, because I need this pathway to be perfect, because if it's not perfect, then it's going to look a little bit weird, right? But luckily we already have luckily it shouldn't be as hard as I'm making it out to be, because we already have the hard part done, which is getting the baseline pathway down. All right, let me take a look. So over here is looking really good, and now we just need to get this circle set up. Oh, dude, I'm so excited about this because like I think this is gonna end up being a really, really cool map design. Now, I don't think I'm gonna be able to get like the circuit perfectly symmetrical, but I'm gonna try my best to do as best as I can. And then once I add the background effect that King Snarf used, I think it'll take away from a lot of the imperfections, right? So I want to make this as well. I don't want to make, or I want this to be a little bit more of a circle, right? So I think I'm gonna have to add another pylon. I think that's the only way that I'm going to be able to like make this as circular as I possibly can. There we go. It doesn't look perfect, but it doesn't look bad. I think when we add the background effect, it'll look a little bit better. So I don't want to add it right now, because if I add it right now, then it'll be like a spoiler. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to start working on pathway 2. And what I want to do is I want to make this kind of similar, but I'm going to go ahead and bring this one up to here, and then drag it over to about here, and then I'll make the circle right here. And then hopefully this ends up looking as good as I want it to, because if it ends up being a flop, then I'm going to be a little bit upset. But so far, I really like the way that this is looking. So I'm going to go ahead and get the rest of the pathways set up, and I'll bring you guys back as soon as I'm done. All right, and there we go, dude. So this is a 5-pathway circuit map, and I think this turned out really, really good. Like, obviously it's not going to be perfect. There are going to be like some spots that look a little bit weird because of this like gray effect with the snow pathway, but for the most part I think this turned out really good with the like finicky nodes. Now the next thing we have to do is we have to add a little bit of a background effect. So for the background effect, the effect that King Snarf used is he used a stamp. And the stamp that he used is this color stamp right here, and he put it behind this pathway. And that's exactly what we're going to be doing. But we're going to add a new stamp layer, and we need to make sure that stamp layer 2 is below all the pathways perfect. Now let's go ahead and get started on adding all of the light shade behind the pathway. And this is where the pathway should really pop. And man, this looks so cool. Like that really light background effect like makes it seem like the wires are glowing. Now the next thing I want to do, I want to add another little bit of an effect like in the middle of all of these circle bits. And I think what I want to add in the middle of the circle bits is that glowing effect, because I think that glowing effect would look really cool. Now, if we add this glowing effect, dude, that looks so gnarly. So what I want to do is I want to add a glowing effect in the middle of all of these like little circuit bits. And then I also think I want to add a glowing effect on top of the trackways in like certain spots. If we add one here, and then what if we like added like, no, I think it looks good without it. The next thing that I was thinking about doing, what if we like took this and then we rotated this, if we rotated it, let me see, so I need to tilt it like this, and then if I tilt it a little bit more to where it's like perfectly flat, and then I put it underground a little bit, there we go. I don't think that looks too bad. But if we like put these in like, no, that doesn't look as good as I thought it would. Like, I thought it would look like, or if I did it correctly, I thought it would look, or I thought I could get like a pattern going, like where it looks like there's like circuits going through the map. But I think that would be a little bit too much. Like, I think it looks good, but I think I would have to do a little bit more to make it look the way that I want it to look. Like, this is what I want, like, but I don't know if I can get it like perfectly in a straight line. Like, that doesn't look bad, right? The only question is if I can get it like, oh dude, that looks so cool. Man, if I did this, like, it would bring it to the next level. And you know what? Let's go ahead and no, I don't think it would end up looking as good as I think it would. Let me just go ahead and do like a quick test. No, because I want them to flow the opposite direction. Because if they're flowing in this direction, then it doesn't look as good, right? No, I can't seem to get like the perfect angle for this. So unfortunately, that's not something that I'm going to be able to do. Is there anything else that we could add to add a little bit more of an effect to this? Like, what if we like added these like steps? Like if we added these steps and then no, because I don't think that would look good either. Like almost like a matrix effect. Like if we put these over here and then we rotated them like this, I mean, it doesn't look bad, right? I mean, you know what? That doesn't look half bad. Like it adds a little bit of life to the wires. So that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna go ahead and like add this effect to all of the wires to see how it would look with it being complete. Yeah, dude, that looks so cool. Like it brings like a whole new atmosphere to this map. And I really like the way that that turned out. Now, the next thing that I want to do is I've been debating on whether or not I wanted to do the same thing that King Snarf did, where he used that barrel and he tilted it on its side. And I think if I did that, it would look really cool, like an entranceway into like this like matrix style of map. So let me go ahead and try to set those barrels up. Now the only problem with the barrels is I think I would have to make them a little bit smaller than King Snarf, because we have the pathways so close. So I don't want to end up messing up my pathways, right? All right, so I think this is coming along quite nicely. Now, the next thing I want to do, I ended up like turning the barrels on the side, like this, and then I ended up like making them really big. The only problem is when I did that, it looks a little bit too bland. So I need to come up with something to add a little bit more detail. So if I like take this snow globe, and I raise the snow globe up as far as I can, it doesn't look like it's gonna make like a big, wait, no, it does. If I like rotate it on its side and then make it a little bit bigger, like, could I like add a little bit more detail with this? Well, I could if I did this, right? If I like just add a little bit of texture with this snow globe or this ornament, like I think that looks really cool. And then I could also take like a yellow one And I could do the same thing with this because I think that's what we're missing right now at the start here. It's just a little bit of extra pizzazz. But for some reason, there we go. Okay, yeah, this definitely looks way better if we have a little bit more color. So if I tilt this up a little bit more, and then if I rotate it, and then I grab the blue one and I put the blue one right underneath it, that should add like a little bit of a shade effect. So I want to go ahead and like try to get like the tri-color here. Then again, I think the yellow and the blue just don't like meld well together. It doesn't look bad, but I think we could do a little bit better. Like that doesn't look bad with like that yellow there because it'll add a little bit of extra contrast. Now I don't want to add anything over here. Well, actually no, if I took this like barrel and I tilted this barrel on its side again, and then I had this barrel like just a little bit off like this, I think that would look pretty cool. But then again, I think I could actually solve all of my problems if I just like moved the barrels to begin with. Like instead of going through all of the trouble of like trying to like come up with a little bit of extra like detail, if I just move the barrels a little bit more to the middle like this, I wouldn't have to worry about there not being any like details missing, right? There we go. That looks way better. That's what I wanted, like a little bit of like an indentation here. And then now that I've done that, let me go ahead and move this back over at the start of it, or at the entrance. And yeah, dude, that looks so cool. And then there's another thing that I want to try out. Like right now I really like the way that everything looks, but I want to try out a couple of different background colors. So let me go ahead and drop a background really quick. And yeah, dude, it is below everything. Okay, so I need to move this way up here to the top a little bit more. There we go, and perfect. So as long as I do this correctly, oh dude, I really like that blue background too. Dude, that blue background is sick. Let me try out a couple of different areas though. That would do. Like, I think all of these are gonna look really good. I actually think the green one looked like the worst. Like, this one looks good. Well, this one looks all right. This one looks not the best. This dark green one, dude, that one looks sick too. What about the autumn one? It definitely does not fit. The white one, not really feeling it. The cracked one, a little bit too much detail in the background. The black one doesn't look too bad, but so far this blue one looks really good. This one looks good too, like it's a little bit more of a dark feel. The darker blue one, actually, you know what? I think this dark blue one looks good too. Like we have a light blue and we have a dark blue. Oh man, dude, I don't know which one to choose. Like they both look really good. We can't use those ones, but the question is the light one or the darker one? You know what? I really like the color cyan, so I'm gonna go with this one right here. And guys, like I know like there's like small flaws, but for the most part, I think this map is done. Like there's no other details that I can think of to add to this map. Like I could probably like add like a couple more barrels and like try to make like connecting circuits, but I feel like that would be just a little bit too much because that would kind of like take away from the vibe of the map that I'm going for. So guys, the next thing that we have to do is we have to like choose, wait, no, there's not really a background effect that I think would look good for this, right? Like if we use like any of these like dust ones, or if we like use like the rain one, nothing would really look good. So this is going to be the rare case where I think no background effect is going to look the best. And of course, the next thing we have to do is we have to choose some music. So for the music, let's choose Game Boy, because I feel like Game Boy is definitely going to be the best music for this circuit background. Well, actually, you know what? Game Boy's a little bit too upbeat. I think Synthwave is a little bit better. So let's choose Synthwave. So now that we have our map pretty much done, the last thing we have to do is, of course, play our map. But before we play our map, let's go ahead. We'll call our map a circuit. Yeah, so let me take a look here. So I think for the most part, everything looks as good as I want it to look. Like we have the 5 pathway map. These circles aren't perfect. These are like the best circles that I could make. So I'm not too upset with the way that they turned out. So now that we've named our map, the next thing I want to do is, of course, play our map. Now, this map would definitely be beatable on Chimps because, I mean, there's 5 pathways. So I think if we like put a dart monkey here and like a dart monkey here, I think this should end up working out really well. So let's go ahead and give our map a try to see how this map is going to play. Dude, we have 5 pathways going out, and then we have 5 pathways coming in. Dude, this map is so insane. Again, a big shout out to King Schnarf for coming up with this map design, because this is so cool. And let me know what you guys think in the comments below. On a scale of 1 to 10, what would you guys rate this map? Now, of course, because all of the pathways end where they start, like there's gonna be a couple of rounds before we see any balloons. Dude, that looks so cool. Man, this map is insane, guys. But all right, dudes, while we're beating this map, I just want to say thank you guys so much for the support on the series. Again, like, I know I say it in every single video, but I just appreciate you guys stopping by, hanging out, dropping a like, dropping a comment. I really appreciate all the support that you guys have been giving me so far, especially with the maps, because these maps are always so much fun to make. That being said, if you guys enjoyed this video, make sure you guys hit that like button. Also, if you guys are new around here, don't forget to subscribe as well. Also, if you guys created a map for yourself, please feel free to drop the code below. And if it's a really cool and unique map, or if it's in a map that gives me a lot of inspiration, I may end up showcasing your map, or I may end up remastering your map. But all right, dudes, this map really isn't too hard. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and fast forward to round 40, and I'll see you guys here in just a second. All right, dudes, so here we are on round 40, and there we have it, dudes. So we have officially beaten our brand new map. So I did go through and I edited the entranceway a little bit because there was a little bit of clippage going on with the balloons. So there's no longer any clipping going on in the starter track. But if you guys would like to play this map for yourself, here is the code. Also, please feel free to let me know in the comments below what you guys think of this circuit map. But anyways, dudes, that's gonna do it for the video, and I'll see you dudes in the next one.